Kelly Morgan sat in the back of her calculus classroom and tried not to count the exits. There were 3. Window, door, ventilation shaft. She had mapped them all in the first 30 seconds of her first day back. The teacher, Mr. Henderson, was explaining derivatives. Kelly had used advanced calculus to plot missile trajectories while under fire 3 months ago. Well, 3 months for her, 6 weeks for everyone on Earth. Time moved differently when you traveled faster than light. She was 18 years old. She had been fighting aliens in deep space since she was 15. The military had needed soldiers desperately when the Kreth Empire attacked, and Kelly had scored perfect marks on every test they gave her. They fast-tracked her through training, gave her neural implants to help her think faster, and sent her to war. Now she was back. The war was still happening out there among the stars, but Earth had a rule. If you were under 19 and survived your tour, you had to finish high school. No exceptions. The government said it was about giving young soldiers a normal life. Kelly thought it was stupid. Miss Morgan, can you solve this problem? Kelly looked up. Mr. Henderson had written an equation on the board. Her implants processed it instantly. The answer appeared in her mind, like words on a screen. -4.7, she said. Mr. Henderson smiled. Kelly shook her head. She could not explain that computers in her brain did the math. Most people did not know about military implants. They were classified. The bell rang. Students grabbed their bags and rushed out. Kelly moved slower, scanning each person, checking for threats. Old habits. Kelly, wait a moment. Mr. Henderson called. She stopped. The guidance counselor approached her desk with that look adults got when they wanted to help her. Kelly had seen it a lot in the past 6 weeks. How are you adjusting? He asked. Fine, Kelly lied. The school has resources. Counseling. Support groups. Other students have family members in the military. They might understand. I'm fine, Kelly repeated. She picked up her backpack and left before he could say more. The hallway was chaos. Students laughed and shoved each other playfully. Someone's phone blared music. 2 girls argued about weekend plans. Kelly's implants tracked all of it, processing threats that did not exist. No one was trying to kill her here. She knew that, but her body did not believe it yet. Kelly! Megan Collins waved from across the hall. She had been Kelly's best friend before the war. They had done everything together. Sleepovers, movies, complaints about homework. That felt like a different lifetime now. Megan ran over, her cheerleader uniform bright and perfect. Are you coming to the game Friday? It's going to be amazing. Tyler is playing, and you know how good he is. Kelly tried to remember who Tyler was. Tyler Brooks. Right. Football player. Dated Megan's sophomore year. Maybe, Kelly said. You should totally come. It'll be fun. Like old times. Megan's smile was wide and hopeful. She wanted her old friend back. Kelly understood that. But the person Megan remembered did not exist anymore. I'll think about it, Kelly said. Megan's smile dimmed a little, but she nodded. Okay. Well, text me if you want to hang out or anything. Kelly watched her walk away. She wanted to feel something. Sadness, regret, anything. Instead, she just felt tired. Lunch was worse. The cafeteria was too loud, too crowded. Kelly took her tray to an empty table in the corner. She ate quickly, efficiently, the way she had learned in the military. Food was fuel, nothing more. Mind if I sit? Kelly looked up. Jake Morris stood there with his own tray. He was quiet, kept to himself mostly. Kelly had noticed him in 2 of her classes. Go ahead, she said. Jake sat down and started eating. He did not try to make conversation. He did not ask her about the war, or thank her for her service, or tell her how brave she was. He just ate his lunch. Kelly appreciated that more than he knew. Your brother was on the USS Valiant, Kelly said after a few minutes. Her implants had pulled up his file when she first saw him. Jack Morris, killed in action 8 months ago. Jake nodded slowly. Yeah. No, different fleet, but I heard about the Valiant. They held the line at Proxima Station. Saved a lot of lives. That's what his commander said in the letter, Jake said quietly. He poked at his food. Everyone wants to talk about how he's a hero. They don't want to hear that I miss him, that I'm angry he's gone. Kelly understood that too. People don't know what to say. So, they say the easy things. What do you say? Jake asked. I say war is terrible, and I'm sorry your brother is dead, and it's okay to be angry about it. Jake looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. They finished lunch in comfortable silence. When the bell rang, Jake stood up. See you around, Kelly. See you around. The rest of the day blurred together. History class, where they learned about World War II like it was ancient history. Kelly had seen war. Real war. This felt like reading a storybook. English class, where they discussed a novel about teenage drama. Gym class, where Kelly had to hold back because her military training made her too fast, too strong compared to normal students. By the time school ended, Kelly was exhausted. Not physically. Her body could run for hours without stopping. But mentally, pretending to be normal, drained her more than any battle. She walked to her car, an old sedan her parents had saved for her. They were proud of her service, but they also looked at her like she was made of glass. Like she might break at any moment. Kelly started the engine and sat there for a minute. Through the windshield, she watched students laugh and play. Couples held hands. Friends made plans. Normal, teenage life. She had fought for 3 years to protect this. To make sure Earth stayed safe, so these kids could have their normal lives. She had watched friends die for this. And now she was supposed to just fit back in like nothing had happened. Kelly put the car in gear and drove home. Tonight, she would do homework. Tomorrow, she would sit through more classes. She would keep pretending, but as she drove, something nagged at her. A feeling she could not shake. Her combat instincts, honed by 3 years of war, whispered that something was wrong. She had noticed things. Small things. Too many new teachers this semester. Security cameras in places that did not make sense. New students who watched everyone too carefully. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe she was just paranoid, seeing threats where none existed. But Kelly had learned to trust her instincts. They had kept her alive when everything else failed. She would watch. She would wait. And if something was wrong, she would be ready. Because being a soldier was not something you could turn off when you came home. It was who she was now. For better or worse, Kelly's suspicions grew over the next 2 weeks. She started keeping notes, mapping patterns that no one else seemed to notice. Principal Clark had been replaced by Principal Vance at the start of the semester. The new principal walked too carefully, like someone still learning how their body worked. 3 teachers had transferred in from other districts, all at once. That was unusual. The security system had been upgraded with equipment that looked military-grade. Kelly told herself she was being paranoid. But her implants kept flagging inconsistencies. Micro-expressions that did not match emotions. Movement patterns that were slightly off. Things a normal person would never notice. Then came the assembly. It was a Tuesday morning. The announcement came over the PA system during second period. All students and staff were to report to the gymnasium immediately for a special presentation about school safety. Kelly felt her stomach drop. Every instinct screamed danger. She stood slowly, watching the other students file out of the classroom. They chatted and joked, happy for a break from class. They did not see the threat. The gymnasium filled quickly. 2,000 students packed onto the bleachers. Teachers lined the walls. Principal Vance stood at center court with a microphone, smiling that slightly wrong smile. "Thank you all for coming," he said. Today we're going to talk about safety protocols for the new semester. Kelly sat in the top row of bleachers, near the emergency exit. Jake Morris was a few seats down. He caught her eye and frowned. He felt it too. Something was wrong. The lights dimmed. A projection screen lowered from the ceiling. Principal Vance clicked a remote. "Please watch the screen," he said. The video started. It showed swirling patterns, geometric shapes that moved and shifted. A soft tone played underneath, pleasant and rhythmic. Kelly's implants reacted instantly. Warning lights flashed across her vision. The patterns were not random. They were a neural stimulus, designed to interact with human brainwaves. The tone was a carrier frequency. This was a weapon. She tried to stand, to shout a warning, but her body would not move. The weapon had already activated. Around her, students stared at the screen with blank expressions. Their eyes went glassy, empty. Kelly's implants fought against the signal. Military-grade shielding protected her neural pathways. Pain exploded through her skull as the two systems clashed, but she stayed conscious, aware. She watched in horror as every person in the gymnasium stopped moving, stopped thinking. They just sat there, vacant and obedient, except they were not all frozen. Kelly's enhanced vision caught movement. Jake Morris was blinking, shaking his head like he was trying to wake up. A girl 2 rows down, Amy Chen, was gripping the bleacher and breathing hard. Scattered throughout the crowd, maybe 7 or 8 students were fighting the effect. Principal Vance smiled. It was not a human smile anymore. Excellent. 99.6% compliance. Better than projections. The gymnasium doors slammed shut. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Teachers moved to block the exits, and Kelly saw what her instincts had been warning her about for weeks. Their skin rippled, shifted. The human disguises melted away like wax, revealing the creatures underneath. Kreth. The same aliens Kelly had fought for 3 years in deep space. They were here. On Earth. In her school. "Subjects are pacified," one of the Kreth said. Its voice was flat, mechanical. "Begin Phase 2 processing." Kelly's mind raced. The Kreth had infiltrated Earth, used Lincoln High as a testing ground for some kind of mind control weapon. If it worked here, they could use it everywhere. Schools, cities, entire countries. They could conquer Earth without firing a shot. She had to move, had to fight. But there were at least 30 Kreth in the gymnasium, all armed. She was one person with no weapons, and a splitting headache from fighting off their neural weapon. Then she saw Jake stand up. He moved slowly, carefully, trying not to draw attention. Amy Chen was also moving, crawling between the bleachers. Others were stirring too. The resistant ones. Kelly caught Jake's eye. She made a quick hand signal. Military shorthand for, "Stay low, wait for my signal." He probably did not understand it, but he nodded and froze. She needed information. Needed to understand what was happening. Kelly's implants could still access local networks, and the Kreth were using standard communication protocols. Arrogant. They did not think humans could intercept their signals. Kelly synced with their network and listened. Data flooded her mind. The Kreth had been planning this for months. Hundreds of sleeper agents across the country, embedded in schools. Lincoln High was the first test. If the neural weapon worked, they would activate every location simultaneously. 20 million students turned into mindless drones in a single day. After that, the rest of Earth would fall easily. Kelly's hands clenched into fists. She had not fought for 3 years just to watch Earth fall to a sneak attack. She counted the resistant students. 8 total, including herself. Jake Morris, Amy Chen, Tyler Brooks, the football player, Nina Patel, the art student, Lauren White, class president, Ben Carter, a freshman she recognized from her math class, Chris Davis, from shop class. 8 teenagers against 30 armed Kreth, and a weapon that had pacified everyone else. The odds were terrible. Kelly had faced worse. She caught Amy's attention and pointed to the electrical panel near the west exit. Amy was smart, Kelly remembered. Always messing with computers and electronics. Amy nodded, understanding the message. If they could cut power, it might disrupt the neural weapon. Kelly signaled to Tyler, pointing at the Kreth guarding the east door. He was big, athletic. If they needed a distraction, he could provide one. She was about to move when Jake crawled over to her. Kelly's implants were already analyzing that question. The resistant students all had something in common. Neural differences. Jake had ADHD. Amy was autistic. Nina had dyslexia. Ben was gifted. His brain wired differently. Tyler had a learning disability. Lauren had anxiety. Chris had ADHD too. Your brains process information differently, Kelly whispered back. The weapon is designed for neurotypical humans. You're resistant because you're neurodivergent. Jake's eyes widened. So, the things that make school harder for us just saved our lives? Exactly, Kelly said. She allowed herself a grim smile. The Kreth had made a mistake. They had built their weapon based on average human neurology. They had not accounted for the beautiful diversity of human minds. Listen carefully, Kelly said quietly. I'm military. I've fought these things before. If you trust me, I can get us out of this. But you have to do exactly what I say. Jake looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. What do we do? Kelly's mind was already working through tactics. She had 8 untrained civilians, no weapons, and an enemy that outnumbered them 4-1. But she also had 3 years of combat experience, military-grade implants, and complete knowledge of the school layout. Most importantly, she had surprise. The Kreth thought all the humans were pacified. They were not expecting resistance. First, we shut down that weapon, Kelly said. She pointed to Amy. Then, we get everyone else out. Then we make sure these things never hurt anyone again. How? Jake asked. Kelly's expression went cold. It was the face she wore in combat, when she stopped being a scared teenager and became a soldier. We fight, and we win, because that's what humans do. A Kreth soldier walked past their section of bleachers, checking on the pacified students. It did not even look at them. Why would it? The weapon had worked. The humans were helpless. Kelly waited until it passed. Then she moved, fast and silent. 3 years of training made her movements fluid, precise. She grabbed the Kreth from behind, using a pressure point her instructors had taught her. The alien dropped without a sound. Kelly took its weapon, a plasma pistol she recognized from the war. She checked the charge. Full. Jake stared at her. So did the other resistant students, who had seen what just happened. Stay close, Kelly whispered. Follow my lead. And whatever happens, don't freeze. Move. Fight. Survive. Can you do that? They all nodded. Scared, confused, but determined. Kelly Morgan looked at her team. 8 kids who should have been thinking about homework and prom. Instead, they were about to fight an alien invasion. She had trained soldiers before. She could do this. Okay, she said softly. Here's the plan. Kelly moved through the bleachers like a shadow. Her team followed, copying her low crouch, her careful steps. She had split them into pairs. Amy and Ben together, both tech-minded. Tyler and Chris, the strongest ones. Nina and Lauren, quick thinkers. Jake stayed with Kelly. When we hit the electrical panel, every light in here goes dark, Kelly whispered. The Kreth have night vision, but it takes a second to activate. That second is our window. Everyone grabs a pacified student and runs for the nearest exit. Don't stop. Don't look back. Get them outside and away from the building. What about you? Jake asked. I'll cover your escape, Kelly said. She checked the plasma pistol. 1 weapon against 30 enemies. Not great odds. But she had fought worse battles in the asteroid fields above Proxima. Amy and Ben reached the electrical panel. Amy pulled out her phone, using the light to examine the wiring. Ben whispered something to her. They worked together, fingers moving quickly. Kelly counted down in her head. 5 seconds. 4. 3. The lights died. The gymnasium plunged into darkness. Kelly heard Kreeth soldiers shout in their clicking language. She was already moving. Her implants switched to low-light mode, painting the world in shades of green. She saw the Kreeth fumbling with their equipment, activating their vision enhancers. Tyler and Chris grabbed 2 students each, hauling them up. Nina and Lauren did the same. They ran for the exits, exactly as Kelly had instructed. The Kreeth turned toward the sound, raising weapons. But Kelly was faster. She fired the plasma pistol. The shot hit a Kreeth in the chest, sending it sprawling. The others spun toward her, away from the fleeing students. Target identified, one of the Kreeth shouted. Section C. Row 12. Good. Kelly wanted their attention. She dropped low, crawled 3 rows down, and fired again. Another Kreeth fell. She kept moving, never staying in one place, drawing their fire. Plasma bolts sizzled past her head. One hit the bleachers where she had been standing a second ago, melting the metal. Kelly returned fire, precise shots that made the Kreeth scatter for cover. She heard the emergency exit crash open. Her team was getting out. Good. Now she just had to survive. A Kreeth soldier rushed her position. Kelly waited until it was close, then kicked hard. Her military training made the strike devastating. The alien went down, and Kelly took its weapon. 2 pistols now. Better. She ran along the bleacher tops, firing both weapons. The Kreeth were organized, tactical, but they were used to fighting other soldiers. They were not ready for a teenager who fought like a cornered wolf. Kelly reached the far exit and slammed through it. The hallway outside was empty. She sprinted toward the front of the school, her implants mapping the fastest route. Behind her, she heard the Kreeth giving chase. Outside, her team was waiting. They had about 30 students with them, groggy and confused but awake. The neural weapons effect was wearing off, now that they were away from the broadcast signal. Everyone okay? Kelly asked. We're good, Tyler said. He was breathing hard, adrenaline pumping. What now? Kelly looked at the school building. Through the windows, she could see more Kreeth moving. They were organizing, preparing to hunt down the escapees. We can't run, Kelly said. If we leave, they'll activate the weapon at other schools. Millions of students will be pacified. This is the only place we can stop them. You want us to go back in there? Lauren asked. Her voice shook, but her eyes were determined. I want you to help me shut down their operation, Kelly said. Permanently. Amy stepped forward. I accessed their network before the lights went out. The main control system is in the principal's office. If we destroy it, we cut off the entire network. Every school, every installation. It all goes down. How sure are you? Kelly asked. 90%. Amy said. Maybe 80. Look, I'm good with computers. But this is alien technology. I'm doing my best. Kelly nodded. 80% was good enough. Okay. New plan. Amy, Ben, you 2 get to the principal's office and shut down the system. Tyler, Chris, you're with them for muscle. Nina, Lauren, Jake, you're with me. We create a distraction. Keep the Kreeth busy while the tech team works. What kind of distraction? Nina asked. Kelly smiled. It was not a nice smile. The kind that makes them very, very angry. They split up. Kelly led her group toward the chemistry lab. If she remembered her high school science correctly, there were all sorts of useful materials in there. Things that could burn, explode, or create smoke. What's your plan? Jake asked, as they moved through the empty hallways. Guerrilla warfare, Kelly said. Hit and run. Make them chase us. Keep them off balance. I did this for 6 months. On Titan Station. Did it work? Nina asked. I'm still alive, Kelly said. They reached the chemistry lab. Kelly broke the window, and they climbed inside. She started grabbing supplies, her implants pulling up chemical formulas from her military database. Can any of you make smoke bombs? Kelly asked. I can, Nina said. I mean, I've never actually done it. But I know the theory. Chemistry is kind of like art. You mix things and see what happens. Close enough, Kelly said. Do it. Jake, find anything that can burn. Lauren, we need noise. Lots of it. They worked fast. Nina mixed chemicals with surprising confidence. Jake piled up paper and chemicals near the door. Lauren found the lab's old sound system and cranked it to maximum volume. 5 minutes later, they had a plan. Kelly set the fire first. Flames caught quickly, spreading across the supplies Jake had arranged. Smoke filled the room, thick and black. She activated the sound system, playing a horrible screech at maximum volume. Then they ran. The Kreth came fast, drawn by the noise and fire. Kelly and her team led them on a chase through the school, setting more fires, making more noise, causing chaos. Every time the Kreth got close, Kelly would spin and fire her stolen weapons, forcing them back. She was using tactics from the war, the same hit-and-run strategies that had frustrated Kreth forces across a dozen star systems. They were stronger than humans, better armed, but humans were unpredictable, creative. They fought in ways the Kreth training manuals did not cover. Fire alarm, Jake shouted. Kelly grinned. Smart. She smashed the nearest fire alarm. Bells rang throughout the school, sprinklers activated, drenching everything. The Kreth hated water. It interfered with their equipment. Meanwhile, Amy's team reached the principal's office. Tyler kicked the door open. The office was full of alien technology, screens and servers that pulsed with strange light. Whoa, Ben whispered. No time for whoa, Amy said. She sat at the main console and started typing. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, translating alien code into something she could understand. This is insane. This is actually insane. I'm hacking an alien computer. Can you do it? Tyler asked. I don't know, Amy said. But I'm going to try really hard. Chris guarded the door, watching for Kreth. Ben helped Amy, running calculations, checking her work. They made a good team. Back in the halls, Kelly's group was running out of room to maneuver. The Kreth were learning their patterns, cutting off escape routes. Kelly had taken down 5 more aliens, but she was running low on ammunition. We need to fall back, she told her team. Get to the cafeteria. More supplies there. They ran. The Kreth followed, firing plasma bolts that scorched the walls. Kelly returned fire, her shots precise despite running full speed. Her implants calculated angles and trajectories automatically. They burst into the cafeteria. Kelly immediately started overturning tables, creating barricades. Nina and Lauren helped, building cover. Jake found the kitchen and came back with a fire extinguisher. Good thinking, Kelly said. The foam will mess with their targeting systems. The Kreth rushed the cafeteria. Kelly and Jake hit them with fire extinguisher foam, blinding them. Nina threw lunch trays like frisbees, surprisingly effective at head level. Lauren used the advantage of knowing the space, leading Kreth into dead ends and locked doors. They were not soldiers, but they were learning fast. Kelly felt a strange pride, watching them adapt, improvise, overcome. In the principal's office, Amy cracked the encryption. Got it, she shouted. I can see the network. Oh no. Oh, this is bad. How bad? Ben asked. They have installations at 300 schools across the country. If they activate them all. Amy did not finish the sentence. She did not have to. Can you stop it? Tyler asked. Amy's hands moved across the keyboard. I can send a kill signal. Shut everything down at once. But it's going to trigger their security protocols. Every Kreth in this building will know what we're doing. Do it anyway, Chris said. Kelly's counting on us. Amy took a deep breath. Then, she pressed enter. Across the school, alarms blared. Kreth soldiers stopped chasing Kelly and turned, rushing toward the principal's office. They knew someone was at their command center. Amy just activated something, Kelly said to her team. Which means she's in trouble. Time to go. They ran toward the office. The Kreth were converging there too, but now Kelly was hunting them. She had the advantage of knowing they were distracted. She picked them off as they ran, precise shots that dropped them before they knew she was there. The final battle was coming. Kelly could feel it. Everything would be decided in the next few minutes, and she was ready. Kelly reached the principal's office to find it surrounded. 20 Kreth soldiers had formed a perimeter. All weapons pointed at the door. Inside, she could hear Amy working frantically, typing on the alien systems. We need a plan, Jake whispered. They were hiding behind a corner, watching the enemy force. Kelly's implants analyzed the situation. Her team had 2 plasma pistols with low charge, a fire extinguisher, and whatever they could improvise. It should have been impossible. Kelly had been in impossible situations before. Nina, do you still have that marker from art class? Kelly asked. Nina pulled out a thick, permanent marker. Yeah. Why? Can you draw on anything? Make it look real? Nina's eyes lit up. You want me to fake something? I want you to create a masterpiece, Kelly said. She pointed to the wall. Draw a door. Right there. Make it look identical to the real doors. Nina stared at her. You're insane. Probably, Kelly agreed. Nina grinned. Give me 2 minutes. While Nina drew, Kelly explained her plan. It was crazy. It would probably get them killed. But it was better than nothing. Nina worked with intense focus. Her hands moved quickly, sketching lines that looked like door frames, adding shadows and details. From a distance, especially in the chaos of combat, it looked exactly like a real door. Okay, Kelly said. Here's what happens. Jake, you and Lauren make noise at that end of the hall. Get their attention. Make them think you're attacking from that side. Nina, you're with me. When they turn to face Jake, we use the confusion to get closer. What about me? Asked a voice. Kelly turned. Tyler, Chris, Amy, and Ben had emerged from a side corridor. We got the kill signal sent, Amy said quickly. But we need to destroy the physical servers too. If the Kreth reboot them, they can restart the whole network. Kelly nodded. Then we fight our way in and destroy everything. Against 20 Kreth soldiers? Tyler asked. Against however many it takes, Kelly said. Her voice was hard, certain. We don't get to quit just because the odds are bad. Earth is counting on us. Every student in every school. We're all they have right now. Chris picked up a piece of broken pipe from the debris. Then let's make it count. They moved into position. Kelly felt the familiar calm that came before battle. Time seemed to slow. Her implants sharpened every sense, cataloging every detail. She had trained for this, lived this. 3 years of war had prepared her for exactly this moment. Now, she said quietly. Jake and Lauren appeared at the far end of the hallway. They banged on lockers, shouted, threw things. The Kreth spun toward the noise, weapons raised. Kelly and Nina ran forward in the confusion. Kelly fired her plasma pistol, taking down 2 Kreth before they realized she was there. Nina sprayed fire extinguisher foam, blinding 3 more. Tyler and Chris charged from another angle. Tyler hit a Kreth with a full tackle, using his football training. Chris swung the pipe like a baseball bat, connecting with alien heads. Ben and Amy moved toward the office door while the Kreth were distracted. Amy had a makeshift explosive, chemicals from the lab wrapped around a phone with a timer. She set it by the server room entrance. The Kreeth recovered quickly. They were trained soldiers, and they outnumbered the humans badly. Plasma fire filled the hallway. Kelly felt a bolt graze her shoulder, burning through her shirt. She ignored the pain and kept firing. 30 seconds, Amy shouted, running back from the office. Everyone down! Kelly grabbed Jake and pulled him behind a water fountain. The others dove for cover. The Kreeth advanced, not understanding the danger. The explosion rocked the building. Amy's bomb was not powerful, but it did not need to be. It just needed to destroy the servers. Metal and electronics flew everywhere. Smoke filled the hallway. Kelly was moving before the debris settled. She fired into the smoke, hitting Kreeth that were staggering from the blast. Tyler tackled another. Chris and Jake worked together to overwhelm a third, but there were still too many. A Kreeth soldier grabbed Nina, lifting her off the ground. She screamed, kicking uselessly against its strength. Kelly shot it in the head. Nina dropped, rolling away. Thanks, she gasped. Don't mention it, Kelly said. She was down to her last few shots. Her shoulder throbbed where the plasma had burned her. They were running out of time and options. Then she heard it. Sirens. Real sirens, not just school fire alarms. Through the windows, she saw flashing lights. Police cars. Military vehicles. Someone had called for help. The cavalry, Jake said, but the Kreeth heard it too. Their leader, a tall alien with scars across its face, raised its weapon toward Amy. If we cannot have the network, we will ensure no human survives to tell what happened here, it said in clicking, accented English. Kelly did not think. She just moved. 3 years of training, countless battles, all of it condensed into one moment. She threw herself in front of Amy. As the Kreeth fired, the plasma bolt hit Kelly's chest. Her military implants took most of the damage, routing energy away from vital organs. But the force still threw her backward. She hit the floor hard, gasping. Jake screamed. He rushed the Kreeth leader with nothing but fury and a fire extinguisher. The alien backhanded him aside easily, but the distraction was enough. Tyler hit the Kreeth from the side. Chris joined him. Together, they brought the alien commander down. Lauren grabbed its weapon and fired wildly, keeping the other Kreeth back. Military personnel burst through the school doors. Soldiers in full combat gear, real soldiers, flooded the hallways. The remaining Kreeth tried to fight, but were overwhelmed quickly. Kelly lay on the floor, her implants working to repair the damage. Her vision was blurry. She could hear people shouting, but the words were distant. Kelly! Amy knelt beside her, tears streaming down her face. Stay with us. Come on. You don't get to die after saving everyone. Not dying, Kelly managed to say. Her voice was weak, but steady. Implants are fixing it. Just hurts. Jake appeared on her other side, his face bruised from where the Kreeth had hit him. You jumped in front of a plasma bolt for Amy. One. Would have done it for any of you, Kelly said. She tried to sit up, but her body was not ready yet. A military medic pushed through the crowd. He saw Kelly's injuries, and the military implants visible beneath her burned shirt. His eyes widened. You're Lieutenant Morgan, from the USS Defender. Went to high school, Kelly said. She managed a weak smile. Worst field trip ever. The medic did not laugh. He immediately started treating her, applying military-grade medical supplies. You're going to be fine, Lieutenant. Those implants saved your life. Around them, soldiers were securing the building. They found the neural weapon in the gymnasium and shut it down. Students, who had been pacified, were waking up, confused and scared, but alive. Colonel Hayes, the ranking military officer, approached Kelly's group. He looked at the 8 teenagers, then at the destroyed servers, the defeated Kreeth, the evidence of the battle they had fought. Somebody want to explain what happened here? He asked. Amy stepped forward. She pulled out her phone, showing him the data she had stolen from the Kreth network. They infiltrated 300 schools across the country. Lincoln High was the test site for a neural pacification weapon. If it worked here, they were going to activate all the other locations simultaneously. 20 million students would have been turned into mindless drones. Colonel Hayes went pale. And you stopped them? We stopped them, Kelly said. She was sitting up now. The medic supporting her. All of us. Together. Sino. 1. The colonel looked at the 8 kids. Tyler with his bruises and torn clothes. Chris holding a bent pipe like a weapon. Nina, covered in marker ink and soot. Lauren, Ben, and Amy exhausted but standing tall. Jake with blood on his face from his fight with the Kreth leader. And Kelly, burned and battered but alive. How many Kreth were there? The colonel asked quietly. 30 in the school, Kelly said. Maybe more in support positions outside. And you took them down with no weapons, no backup, no support? We had everything we needed, Kelly said. She looked at her team. Her friends. We had each other. Colonel Hayes shook his head in amazement. Then he saluted. It was a crisp military salute, the kind reserved for decorated officers. Kelly tried to salute back, but her arm would not raise properly yet. The colonel smiled. That's okay, Lieutenant. You've done enough for one day. What happens now? Jake asked. Now we shut down every Kreth installation in the country, Colonel Hayes said. Thanks to the data you recovered, we know where they all are. We hit them simultaneously, before they can activate the weapons. Will it work? Amy asked. It will now, the colonel said. You gave us the advantage. You gave us time. You might have saved the entire planet. Kelly leaned back against the wall, exhausted. They had done it. 8 teenagers against an alien invasion, and they had won. Not bad for a school day. Paramedics arrived, checking everyone for injuries. News crews were setting up outside, cameras ready to broadcast the story. Parents rushed through police lines, desperate to find their children. Kelly watched it all with detached calm. She had been through worse. But for her team, for Jake and Amy and the others, this was the worst day of their lives. They had faced death and survived. They would carry those scars forever. She understood that better than anyone. Hey, Jake said, sitting beside her. I'll live. Kelly said. That was the bravest thing I've ever seen. When you jumped in front of that blast, Kelly shrugged. Just doing my job. Your job is high school student, Jake pointed out. Kelly laughed. It hurt, but it felt good too. Good, Jake said. Normal is overrated anyway. 3 days later, Kelly sat in a hospital room watching news coverage of the invasion. Earth's military had moved fast. Using the data Amy had stolen, they hit every Kreth installation simultaneously. 273 schools had been targeted. All of them were now secured. The invasion had failed. The news anchors kept using the same phrase. The Lincoln 8. That is what they were calling Kelly and her team. 8 students who had saved the world. Kelly hated it. She had not saved the world. She had just protected her school. The real heroes were the soldiers fighting across the planet to shut down the remaining Kreth forces. But the media loved a good story. And 8 teenagers fighting aliens was a very good story. There was a knock on her door. Jake, Amy, and Nina entered, all looking uncomfortable in their visitor badges. How's the chest? Amy asked. Kelly pulled aside her hospital gown to show the bandages. Healing. The implants did most of the work. Doctors say I can leave tomorrow. Good, Jake said. He sat in the chair beside her bed. Because things are getting crazy out there. How crazy? Kelly asked. Nina pulled out her phone. You've been trending on social media for 3 days straight. Someone made a video game about us. There's already talk of a movie. Kelly groaned. Kill me now. Too late. You already survived getting shot with a plasma weapon, Jake said with a small smile. Amy sat on the edge of the bed. Seriously, though, the military wants to talk to all of us. Something about recruitment offers. Ben and I are interested. What we did with their computers, Kelly. It was amazing. I want to learn more. Chris and Tyler are thinking about it too. Nina added. Turns out fighting aliens is kind of addictive. What about you? Kelly asked Nina. Nina shrugged. I'm going to stick with art. But maybe I'll focus on military design, camouflage patterns, psychological warfare imagery. That kind of thing. Turns out creativity is a weapon too. Kelly smiled. It is. Trust me. The school's reopening next week, Jake said. They've swept every inch of the building. No more Kreth. No more weapons. Just regular school. Are you going back? Kelly asked. Jake nodded slowly. Yeah. I think so. I mean, we already fought aliens in the hallways. Regular classes can't be worse than that. They all laughed. It felt good. Normal. Kelly had not realized how much she needed normal. There's something else. Amy said quietly. They want you to do an interview. National television. They want you to talk about what happened. Drust. Arins. Dane you. Drust. Kelly's smile faded. I don't want to talk about it. They're saying it would help, Amy continued. Show the Kreth that Earth is strong. That humanity fights back. Kelly looked at her hands. They were scarred from 3 years of war, and now, from this new battle. She was tired of fighting, tired of being strong, for everyone else. But that was not really an option, was it? The Kreth were still out there. They had tried to invade once. They would try again. Earth needed to send a message. Okay, Kelly said finally. I'll do one interview, then I'm done. The interview was scheduled for 2 days later, after Kelly was released from the hospital. She sat in a television studio, wearing her dress, military uniform. It still fit perfectly, though it felt strange after weeks in civilian clothes. The interviewer was a woman named Catherine Price. She had kind eyes, but a serious expression. Lieutenant Morgan, thank you for agreeing to speak with us, she said as the cameras rolled. Call me Kelly, Kelly said. Kelly, then. Can you tell us what happened at Lincoln High? Kelly took a breath. Then, she told the story. Not the version the news had been reporting, with dramatic music and graphics. The real story. 8 kids who were scared and fighting for their lives. The terror of watching her classmates become mindless drones. The impossible choice to fight when running would have been easier. Why did you fight? Catherine asked. You could have escaped. You could have run and left it to the military. Kelly thought about that question. She had asked herself the same thing in quiet moments. Because running would have meant accepting defeat, Kelly said finally. And humans don't do that. We're stubborn. We're creative. We adapt. The Kreth thought they understood us. They thought they could predict us, control us, conquer us. They were wrong. What do you want to say to the Kreth Empire? Catherine asked. Kelly looked directly at the camera. She knew the Kreth monitored Earth broadcasts. They would see this. They would hear her words. I fought your soldiers for 3 years in deep space, Kelly said. Her voice was calm, steady. I saw your tactics, your weapons, your strategies. You're good, disciplined, strong. But you made one mistake. You thought Earth was weak because we're young as a species. You thought our children would be easy targets. She paused, letting the words sink in. You were wrong. Lincoln High was supposed to be your easy victory. Instead, it became your defeat. 8 students who had never fought before took down 30 of your soldiers. A girl with autism hacked your computers. A boy with ADHD led a resistance. A football player, an artist, a class president, a freshman genius, and a shop student all fought like warriors. And they won. Kelly leaned forward, her eyes intense. That's what you're facing. Not just soldiers like me. Every human. Every child. Every person you dismissed as weak or irrelevant. We all fight. We all resist. And we will never, ever give up. She sat back. So if you're watching this, understand something. Earth is not an easy target. We're not pacified. We're not afraid. Come at us again if you want, but know that we'll be ready. And we'll win. The interview went viral within hours. Clips of Kelly's speech spread across every social media platform. Military recruitment offices reported record numbers of applicants. The Kreeth Empire made no official response, but intelligence reports suggested they had abandoned their invasion plans. One speech, one message. It had changed everything. Kelly went back to school the following Monday. The campus looked different now. Armed security at the gates. New systems in place to prevent infiltration. Students who walked with a different kind of awareness. They had learned they were not safe. The universe was dangerous. But they had also learned they could fight back. Kelly walked through the halls to her locker. Students stared at her, whispered, pointed. Some wanted autographs. Others wanted to thank her. She just wanted to get to class. Kelly, she turned. Megan Collins ran up to her, no longer in her cheerleader uniform. She wore combat boots and a military recruitment pamphlet stuck out of her backpack. I signed up, Megan said. For military training. Volunteered. They said, I can start after graduation. Kelly blinked in surprise. Really? You were right, Megan said. There's a war happening. We can't just ignore it and hope someone else handles it. I want to fight too. I want to help. Kelly felt something warm in her chest. Pride, maybe. Or hope. That's good, Megan. Really good. Will you help me train? Megan asked. I mean, if you have time. I know you're busy. I'll make time, Kelly said. Megan smiled. The same bright smile from before the invasion. But there was steel behind it now. She had learned what Kelly already knew. Sometimes, you had to fight for the things that mattered. Kelly continued to her calculus class. Mr. Henderson was writing equations on the board. The same as always. But when Kelly sat down, he nodded at her with new respect. Jake slid into the seat beside her. Ready for another thrilling day of derivatives? Absolutely, Kelly said with a grin. Amy sat on her other side, already pulling out her laptop. I'm teaching the computer science teacher about alien programming languages today. He's very excited. Tyler and Chris came in together, both limping slightly from their fight injuries. They high-fived Kelly as they passed. Nina was sketching in her notebook, drawing what looked like tactical diagrams. Lauren was organizing a new student safety committee. They were different now, all of them. The invasion had changed them in ways they were still discovering. But they were together. A team. Friends who had fought side by side. The bell rang. Class started. Mr. Henderson talked about calculus. Students took notes. Everything looked normal, but Kelly knew better. Normal was an illusion. The universe was vast and dangerous. Threats existed that most people never saw, but humans were dangerous too. Not because they were the strongest or the fastest, because they refused to quit, because they protected each other, because when the odds were impossible, they found a way anyway. Kelly looked around the classroom at her friends, her teammates, her fellow survivors. They were just kids, just students, trying to get through high school, but they had proven something important. They had shown the galaxy what humanity really was. Not perfect, not invincible, but absolutely, completely unwilling to surrender. At lunch, the 8 of them sat together at their usual table. The cafeteria was full of students, all talking about weekend plans and homework and normal things. The invasion was already becoming history, A story they would tell their children someday. So, Jake said, opening his lunch. Anyone want to talk about the calculus test on Friday? They all groaned. After fighting aliens, homework feels so stupid, Tyler complained. Homework is stupid, Amy agreed. But we still have to do it. That's the real nightmare, Chris said. We saved the world and still have to write essays. Kelly laughed. She had faced down Kreeth warships in deep space. She had fought an invasion in her own school. She had given speeches that changed military strategy, and now she had to study for a calculus test. It was absurd. It was frustrating. It was perfectly, wonderfully normal. I'll help everyone study, Kelly offered. My implants make math pretty easy. That's cheating, Nina said. But she was smiling. It's tactical advantage, Kelly corrected. There's a difference. They spent lunch talking about homework and tests and all the ordinary struggles of high school. Outside, the world was still dangerous. The Kreeth Empire was still a threat. War continued in the depths of space. But here, in this moment, they were just 8 friends sharing a meal. 8 kids who had proven that humanity's greatest strength was not weapons or technology. It was each other. Kelly finished her lunch and looked at her friends. They were laughing at one of Jake's terrible jokes. They were planning to study together this weekend. They were making plans for prom. They were living. Despite everything, despite the war and the invasion and the impossible odds, they were living their lives. That was the message Kelly had sent to the Kreeth Empire. That was the truth about humanity. You could invade their cities. You could attack their schools. You could try to break their spirits. But humans would keep fighting, keep laughing, keep living, because that was what they did. The bell rang. Kelly gathered her books and stood up. Another class to attend. Another day of being a student instead of a soldier. It was harder than fighting aliens, in its own way. But Kelly had learned something important. During the invasion, she did not have to choose between being a soldier and being a teenager. She could be both. She was both. Lieutenant Kelly Morgan, decorated war veteran, and Kelly Morgan, high school senior. Both were real. Both were important. She walked to her next class with her friends beside her, ready for whatever came next. Because the girl who came back from battle had learned the most important lesson of all. Coming home did not mean the fight was over. It just meant you chose what was worth fighting for. And Kelly had made her choice. She would fight for this, for her friends, for her school, for the ordinary, beautiful, complicated mess of being human. The Kreeth Empire would learn what Kelly already knew. Humans were dangerous because they cared. And there was nothing in the universe more powerful than that.